I didn't want to continue anymore. I hope this helps for someone out there who's struggling. There is gonna be a solution. It will work out in the end. Hello and welcome back. This is the second video I'm recording in November, and it will probably get to you in December because my editing is way too slow. I'm still busy with the last one, which is probably already out when you watch this one, for sure. But it's almost the end of the month, which means that I kind of like want to give a little update on what I've accomplished so far, and I will be talking about how I got very stuck this month in my writing and writing the book. So let's get into it, shall we? Grab a little tea or anything else, like another beverage that you might enjoy while I yap away and tell you about my story. Then we'll get started with writing, because I also feel like I started this video just to force myself to write because I really didn't want to today, and I know that the coming days are really busy, and so I just wanted to kind of have some accountability through this video to work on my project even though I don't want to. And I think that's another side of like writing that I noticed in the beginning when I started this process. I only wrote when I wanted to, but now I kind of like set this deadline and I feel like I'm forcing myself to write when I don't want to write, if that makes sense. Which sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, and nothing comes out and I'm just sitting there staring at a page with letters, but that's fine. Somewhere along mid-November I reached Act 2 again, and now you might be wondering, you already wrote like 40,000 words, why are you just getting into Act 2? And I think that's because I put so many details in one of the first stories of like getting from one location to another in the story, and it was all about this one perspective, and I said that I was going to have 3 perspectives, and so I feel like I incorporated another chapter with the other 2 perspectives, and now I am in Act 2. And it's this point where in my previous first draft I got stuck as well, and I don't know what it is, but something about them reaching the academy and actually having to study and get to their courses and learn about their magic and kind of get the plot moving. That point is just so hard, and I don't know why I keep going back to that point and realize I don't know what to do here or like how to fill up the chapters. And even though I've written an outline for like the whole book and thought about like everything that it needs to go to, I know how the book ends, but I just don't know how to fill in those little snippets in between the chapters that sometimes don't really add to the plot but are necessary to understand it. And I just feel very stuck in those little chapters, and so I was like having a break from writing for a few days, and I called a friend and she was like very supportive. It was a really good conversation, and she came up with like a bunch of ideas that I could go with, and it really like held up a mirror to myself of like what I already accomplished, because at some point I was like, everything I've written is just, I just have to like start all over again. Not that it's not better than what I've written before, it is, and I feel like I've thought more about what needs to happen and where it needs to go, but I do think I I just felt at some point that I just wanted to throw it all against the wall and be done with it. Like, I didn't want to continue anymore. That was a revelation as well, because I know that I already spent so much time and effort into this story, and I've learned way more about the characters through this process and more about the world, what it looks like. But there are these tiny things that I just don't necessarily know yet, and they are keeping me from actually writing the bigger things. That conversation made me realize, like, okay, I don't have to put in like all the nitty work. I don't need to know all the details. It's okay if I don't have names for certain things or don't know how some things work. So from that conversation onwards, I didn't have that much time to like implement what she said, but I did write it down, and that really helped me to write the next scenes from a different perspective. And I think that switch in perspective also really helped me get out of it. But now I really do need to return to the other character and where I left off, and I feel like I've just been procrastinating working on that chapter again, because I just know that it needs a lot of work, and I need to reorganize some of the chapters. Things are not in the right positions, and it's making me very frustrated. It's all very chaotic, and I don't like chaotic. It's such a messy process. But yeah, that's where I'm at. So let's talk about how I shifted my mindset from not wanting to write to starting the chapters again. The first thing that I did this morning was I did some yoga to put an intention on the day and say to myself, okay, I'm giving myself this, like, I'm allowing myself this time to not be productive, but to be creative and let the words flow and let the scene speak to me. And even if nothing, like, even if I don't reach 1,000 or 2,000 words, but I've written something and it moves the plot forward, I am happy. Like, I allow myself to be happy with that productivity. And after that, I had some breakfast, and during my breakfast, I listened to some music that I have in a playlist on Spotify for my book, and just to get like myself into the mood of the characters and the story. And then after that, I actually put up this camera, so but now I want to read a book that I always feel inspired by when I start my writing, and sometimes when I'm stuck, I start reading the book again to kind of get in like a similar mindset or like thought process. And the book that I'm talking about is from V.I. Schwab, and it's A Darker Shade of Magic. Ta-da! Yeah, and this book just, I love the way that it's structured, and I kind of want to have a similar structure to my story. And so seeing it every time, I'm like, okay, this is how she did it, this is where it goes, and how she like introduces characters and places, and I'm like, this is interesting. I will keep track for this. And so right now I will read a scene from this story, and then I will start writing. I will open my laptop and put on a timer of, I think, an hour. Maybe that's not smart, but I will do that anyways. And I will put on some like background music to get myself in the fantasy mood. So let's get started. Yes! I'm currently not writing, so if you're looking at this and you're like, what is she doing? I'm placing the chapters in like different spaces because I'm gonna divide them in parts, and those parts will have chapters and those chapters will have scenes. And so I'm shifting around the things before I start writing again, because I feel like now it's just one giant mess and I have a better structure in my head. So that's the first thing that I'm gonna be doing now before I start actually writing. So hello. So just now I wrote for around 1.5 hours. I was in a pretty good flow at some point. In the beginning I was like organizing and resorting the chapters, but then I realized that I actually now knew what needed to come next. And so I basically started writing the next scene, and it didn't have anything to do with the courses or just what I thought it would be. Probably doesn't make any sense because I don't want to give away the details of the story and the plot too much, but it kind of like got it moving, and I feel like the characters progressed a little bit in the goal that they needed to reach. And so I'm really happy with those 3,000 words almost. And I'm gonna continue for, I think, maybe another half an hour or an hour, and see where I end up. I hope I can reach the 2,000 word limit, and then call it a day. I still need to do some other things today, and yeah, so basically that. So it's pretty good. Like, I forced myself to start, and in the beginning it was rough, but then I started getting into it and I was like, huh, this is actually going better than I expected. So that's nice. Bye. Well, I did write for another hour, and I realized that it went really well actually. I reached 2,362 words, and that's quite a lot. So I think I will end the day at that. I'm actually really happy with that progress because I feel like I wrote one scene, I finished that, and then I wrote another scene, and I think that's a great start to the first week at the academy, and it's a great way of introducing the courses and some new characters, as well as her experience at this institute. So I think I finally understand how to use this information and the kind of plot that I want and incorporate it into the draft that I have now. And that's actually such a big thing because it's I finally understand how to do it, and I was so stuck for like, I think 2 weeks to just get it and dive into it. And now that I have, I'm like, I just want to keep on writing, but I can't, because I know that if I overdo it one day, I don't have anything left for the other days, and tomorrow I still have time to write. So now that I stop like in the middle of the scene, I know how to continue tomorrow, and once I'm in that flow again, it's easier to start a new scene. So I'm just gonna stop it here and look forward to tomorrow. So yeah, that's, I think, the end of this vlog as well. It's a short one, I think, but it's just a little bit of the struggle of writing, I hope. And I hope that some people that might feel stuck understand that sometimes you just need a little talk to a friend or someone who kind of give you a new perspective. Also, time. You just need time. Sometimes stuff works out in your head and you're like, I didn't have this idea beforehand, but now I have, and now I know how to work with it. Sometimes you just need to use another person in your story and put a different perspective on it, or just write a random scene of something that you didn't incorporate in your outline, something that you didn't even know needed to be in your book. Maybe it doesn't, but it gives you more information about the world or one of the characters, and that kind of kicks it off in another direction. Yeah, I hope this helps for someone out there who's struggling. There is gonna be a solution. It will work out in the end. That's a great end to this writing day. That started out with like, I do not want to write, and I did, and now I feel great about it. So even if you don't feel great about it, you still did it. Go write. Bye. I will see you the next time. I hope sometime soon.